Well, hello everyone, welcome to Steve Plays City Skylines. This is episode 10 of my Swensdale build and I hope you're all well. So today I'm going to be starting up my high density residential, and before that I'll be doing a quick catch up of some of the stuff that I did off camera since episode 9, where I started off the high density commercial. Hope you find this useful, interesting. If you do, please consider subscribing and hit the bell for notifications of future videos. I tend to post at least once a week, so I won't keep you too long in between episodes. Okay, so we're making one of those nice sort of aerial cinematics. We're going through the new high density commercial, and we're heading off to where I've started off a little grid for the high density. What is it? Lost my train of thought. My high density residential. Okay, so before that, what I want to do is I just want to just give you a couple of quick updates on what I did off camera, as it were. So the first one, as you can see, I mean, from the last time. In fact, let's get rid of that now. My high density commercial, I've expanded it a fair amount. I'm now getting a massive residential demand, which I should hopefully be filling nice and quickly. I've put in a couple of services which should benefit both the commercial and the residential. So we've got a police headquarters and a full-blown fire station there. I was going to put in the hospital. I am going to put in a hospital, but I was going to put it there. But I wondered whether maybe I don't know. I couldn't decide whether to pop it in here. I've already made this street. I've used Traffic Manager to make it emergency vehicles only, so that vehicles coming down from my industrial here don't try and shortcut somehow into here. I want them to feed through this this roundabout that I've put in. Yeah, but I can't decide whether to put the hospital there or whether to pop it in sort of in the middle of the residential, because the hospital, as far as I can remember, it doesn't. There's no there's no pollution or noise pollution, so there's no detriment to putting that in here, and it should provide. I think I will actually put it sort of there. But anyway, before we get on to that, let me just give you a couple of quick updates. Balzac Park has now leveled up to level 5. It already had the visitors. It was just waiting for me to just to sort of put in a little bit more entertainment, just to sort of bring it across the line, sort of thing. So now it's at level 5. I've just started. I'll be doing some more with it, and it's probably nice. Well, I don't know. It looks quite nice at night, but you don't see the trees necessarily well. But I've started to sort of spread it out a little bit, because it was all kind of compacted into here. Basically, 'cause I didn't quite know how much I'd need to put in to get it to the maximum. So now I need to kind of space things a bit. What I'm kind of going for is all the sort of kiddie stuff fairly close to the entrance, and then as you get further away, more sort of nice, quiet sort of places where people can relax away from the kids, basically. So yeah, that's now. It doesn't make a tremendous amount of money, but it's not running at a loss, and it's obviously providing a nice bit of entertainment, and it's maybe a slight tourist draw. So that's that done. This roundabout. Now this is the roundabout. Hang on. Yeah, so this roundabout, this is the one that when I sort of nearly rage quit a couple of episodes ago because everything had gone wrong, this was the one that had ground to a halt, because when I put in this high density commercial, all the traffic from the industrial just jammed it up, and it was just tailing back all the way into the industrial estate. So I did put in this road system to sort of help alleviate that. And you'll see I've gridded this out ready for a bit of industrial expansion when there's a demand. But it was still... that's working to an extent. There is some traffic. You can see there is some traffic going, using this road to get into this area here. But it was still really clogging up. So I had a really good look at this. And unfortunately the fix, if it's a fix, the fix I'm going to tell you, unfortunately you can't do it without a mod, I don't think. You need a traffic manager to do this. But what I was finding is, obviously, when you create a junction, the game puts in a pedestrian crossing. And what seemed to be happening, I don't know whether this is the mechanic, but this is what I seem to observe, is that if you get pedestrians just walking past here, not trying to cross, just sort of in a critical area, this traffic just stops and waits to see if they're actually going to cross. And so my roundabout wasn't flowing. Even though people weren't crossing the crossings, if you see what I mean, the traffic was kind of like stopping just in case. And so the flow around the roundabout wasn't smooth. So what I've done two things. I've created this. Okay. I created this and I was thinking, well, you know what? I've gone to all this effort and there's the odd bike using it and that's it. Yeah, because what I've done is I've used bicycle paths. I do have a combined path. This was supposed to be basically a pavement and bicycle roundabout to get rid of all this. But let me show you first traffic manager, and then I'm going to sort out the sort of slight mess that I've made there. So I've gone into traffic manager and junction restrictions, and you can see what I've done is in traffic manager you can turn off the pedestrian crossings, and I should have done it. Yes, I should have done it all the way around. If I'll just show you what it looks like in case you haven't used traffic manager. So if it was like that in blue, that's an active pedestrian crossing. So they should all be sort of crossed out, and indeed they are. So even though I can't get rid of the painted lines, I need another mod just to do that, and I really can't be bothered. I know that I've turned all these off. So because these aren't active, the cars aren't sort of slowing down if there's a pedestrian on the pavement. So it just seems to be flowing better. So all I need to do, because I realise that I've been a bit mean on the pedestrians, because I've inadvertently used the wrong path. So hopefully it'll let me... And I'll probably find out that I've missed one, but... Oh, that's it. Mm-hmm. Right, I think that's done it. So what you see now is, I mean, I know it looks I can't decide whether that looks totally crap or like some really futuristic, absolutely amazing sort of roundabout centerpiece type thing. I just didn't want to do like a cross and get rid of all this stuff in the middle. So like a pedestrian roundabout. So hopefully that now the traffic is, it's still busy, but the traffic is flowing a lot freer around the roundabout rather than stopping at some of the crossings, which is good. It's a little bit odd there. It's one of them that I just don't want to look at. These vehicles kind of like jostle the way into the lane, and occasionally they go onto the pavement. If they're going too fast, I don't know. But anyway, it is flowing better. The other thing that I've done, I think this is the only other thing, is I don't know whether you'd call it a full-blown death wave, but I had more, unfortunately, I had more dead people than the hearse capacity, basically. So I had to pop in a second cemetery just to stop, basically just to deal with demand. Let's just put it like that. Now, of course, at the moment, they're not even running at half capacity, but I needed it at the time, and okay, fine, it's there for as things get busier. Is there anything else? I think, yeah, I need to revisit my farming, I think, because I could get this up to level 5. I'm just going to pause the game a sec. I could get the farming up to level 5. I've got enough resources, but I need to put more farm buildings in to actually get my numbers up. I don't know whether it doesn't help that if we look at the number of workers, I really have a bit of a worker crisis at the moment for my industry, which is probably why there's no demand at the moment. What I've done to start to alleviate that in this this area here, bearing in mind that I'll be going for this oil that's down here eventually, I've decided that this is a big enough area for farming, and so I've kind of like cut it off at that point with this road, and then Spring Gardens, which was this kind of ribbon development that came down here, will expand like that eventually, and this should provide hopefully a ready supply of workers for this industry here. Right, okay, I think that's it. What I need to do now is make that final decision on where I'm actually going to put that hospital. I need to obviously get some schools in here as well, and start building. The way I'm going to do this, I'm going to kind of split this, so it's better when it's daylight. You can kind of see the view, and I'm kind of going to reward the sort of eco types with the best view. So the way I'm going to do this, this front road is going to have some low density housing on it. These are kind of almost going to be like the sort of, you know, the sort of primo homes with the beachfront type houses, even though there's no beach, with a cracking view. And then it's going to be high density, but it's going to be the green cities high density stuff. And then there'll be kind of like there'll be a transition. Well, there won't be a transition. There'll be probably be quite an abrupt jump from sort of Greensville, if you like, here to old style high density. So what I need to do is I've done so you see we've got Sycamore Square. I'll probably name that. I don't like that now. I like Mounts View. I picked that one, sort of, you know, there you go. And I should have... No, I haven't. Right, so I need to make that international, because as I mentioned in the last video, I really, really don't like the European high density housing at all. So that's set before I forget, hopefully. Yeah, right, cool. And you'll see that I've zoned out a massive area. I don't know whether it's too big for my first university campus. I'm going to kind of start it. I want I want it near the river, but I don't know. Maybe it'll expand down here. If not, this might be, I don't know, maybe it might end up as like an IT hub, perhaps, close to the campus. We'll see. But I think that might actually be in the next video. Right, I'm going to go away for a minute or two and start this off, and then come back to you when I've just got the first buildings in and they've started to pop. So back to you in a sec. Okay, so we're back. So let's have a look at my high density residential. So I've put the hospital with the residential rather than popping it over here. Let's go to the front and let's see what I'm trying to achieve here. So this is all Green City's area and assets. So at the front here, these are low density, and the idea is that they're kind of, I know it's not a beach, but sort of beachfront properties. Hopefully high value, with that lovely view, sort of water through the trees, and then look up and there are the mountains. At the back of those, I've put in a row. This is where all the high density starts. So just a single row of low density and then into the high density. But these are the lower footprint ones. So they're 2x2, they're 1x1, 2x3 and 3x2. So the idea in my mind is that these won't grow as tall as the big stuff. So it's kind of a stepping up, sort of a ramping up from the low density through this kind of medium height high density up to the taller stuff. So the idea is that at least 3 rows get that view, and then the rest the rest maybe can see a little bit through the gaps. But yeah, so that's what I've done there. I've snaked little paths through the middle here, just popped some trees in just to just so they're not just staring out again at somebody else's windows, sort of idea. It's not going to be massively pretty, I don't think. It's kind of a means to an end. This is a population factory almost. It's just a way of getting me through the levels to get access to other stuff. Where I want to sort of really do some work is probably here, maybe, or here, where it's kind of like the big sort of sea view and what have you. And I think maybe I'd space the buildings out a bit more, make a bit more effort. But for now, this is really just to sort of get my numbers up, let's be honest. And indeed, my numbers have got up. Just before I resumed the video, I got the little ding sort of idea, and I've found that I am now a small city, or rather, Swensdale is a small city. Which is great, because I now have access to trains, and I need to do something, I think, to kind of give my industry a bit of a boost, which has been pretty much dead as far as demand is concerned. I've just started to get it to increase. There was absolutely no demand whatsoever, but I've just started to get that up. And I think there's a number of reasons for that. I think maybe I went a bit OTT with this high density commercial straight off the bat, and it's kind of sucked a lot of people away from their industry jobs, and they're now working in here. I think that might be part of it. Couple that with not enough population, so there's very low, what are we on, 96% employed, a very low unemployment really. So what I've started to do to address that, I've increased spring gardens quite a bit. I'm actually going to put in, although I don't want to put too much commercial in, because I think I've gone a bit over the top with that anyway, but I want to put a little bit of low density commercial in here, because I'm starting to feel sorry for these guys now, because they're nowhere near any shops, without coming over the river and all the way around to this sort of strip here. I'm going to do that probably off camera before the next episode. But I had noticed that my industry was getting in a real mess. And I'm getting stupid stuff like this. So I've got a production area here saying that it hasn't got a market for its goods, while simultaneously this pellet plant is saying that it hasn't got any raw materials, while this small log yard is virtually full. I think what is happening is that there's a lot of exporting going on, and all the trucks are out delivering sort of off the map, or going to the edges of the map to deliver, sort of thing. And they're just not available when there's a demand within the industrial area. That, I think, was exacerbated by problems I was having here. You might notice that this looks a bit different than it did at the start of the game, if I showed it. The way that it was originally is this this 2-lane motorway, highway, road thing came virtually down to the roundabout, and these exit and entry ramps to the motorway fed into it. It was a little bit further down, but basically imagine if this one came down and came into the junction here. Bearing in mind it was just a 2-way road. It was a nightmare. Everything was jostling to get in. I couldn't sort it out with... well, I'm not an expert, I guess, with Traffic Manager, but I couldn't find a way of making that really work. And the traffic was backed up, like, all the way around this sort of roundabouty thing here. And this is... remember, I'm driving on the left, so this is an off-ramp. I think. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. This is an on-ramp, and there's an off-ramp. And what was happening is this traffic was backing up. Like I said, it was backing all the way around this roundabout. It was all the way up this this off-ramp and up the motorway. And then likewise over here, it was like this, only much worse. And it was coming all the way back here and all the way down the off-ramp. And I think that wasn't helping at all, because basically all the delivery trucks from my industry areas, they'd gone out to export and then they just couldn't get back home, or it was taking them a long time. So I've remodeled this. It maybe doesn't look as pretty, but I've just basically made this... I need to play around a bit with the lane logic. You can see they're trying to cross over here. They don't really seem to be using the third lane at all. I think the reason is, to be honest, that most of this traffic is wanting to come... I've put a slip road here to just relieve the roundabout a bit. Most of the traffic seems to want to come down here and then either loop around here to come up to the industry, or sort of go down here to follow this road around here. But it has eased it a lot. I mean, like I said, looking at where the traffic was backing up to, that's gone, and I think that's helped to some extent relieve the internal supply issues. And I've still got an issue here, but hopefully that'll resolve itself. So I've done that, and I think I've still got some more work to do on this. I need to have a think about how I can make this better. But I also, now I've got to the small city milestone, I can now use trains. And so what I'm looking to do is put in a cargo train terminal. And it's a case of trying to figure out where to put that. And it might be easier to show you on... there's a mod that I've downloaded, which is this CSL Map View. And what it does is it exports the data out of your map, out of your game map, and gives you a bit more of an abstract view, but it takes away some of the sort of clutter. Because looking at this, trying to figure out where my external connections are, the roads show up easily enough, but the trains, I don't, so I kind of struggle. I mean, just looking at that at the sort of maximum zoomed out level, with all the with all the sort of markers as well, it's almost impossible to see where things are. I happen to know there's a train line there because I had to get across it, but you've got to sort of get in a bit before it suddenly becomes apparent. If I just show you, I exported the map. So let's go into this view. This is zoomable, but this is at the maximum, the most zoomed out level, and although it's small, train lines are pretty obvious. Even in this area here where I was struggling to see it without getting zoomed in, it's all nice and clear. I can see where my external connections are. It's actually the roads, funnily enough. It's because of this, in this more mountainous area, the roads can be a little bit difficult to see, whereas on the real map they show up really clearly. But I just think it's easier to just see your external connections, and this is just a file that if you wanted to, you could edit it and write and put notes on. You'd have to use something like GIMP or something, but you could use this almost as a like a sort of a grand plan sort of thing, and sort of be labeling squares, tiles with what you intend to put there. But let's just zoom in just a touch, and we can have a look at my sort of current predicament, as it were. Oh, actually, something I do want to show you, because this was useful. I told CSL that I wanted to include bus routes and show them on the map. And what it showed me is that this route here, which is supposed to just go centre to centre and back, somehow I've managed to put a loop in there that I didn't even know I'd done. I think, well, what I'd obviously done is there should be a stop there on the left for as it goes in, and then a corresponding stop on the right as it comes back. And somehow I've managed to twitch that right-hand stop and stuck it down here, which means that the buses are doing this loop. Totally unnecessary and not efficient. So I've rectified that now, but if I hadn't seen that, goodness knows how long it would have taken me to actually spot that little mistake. So that's quite handy. But anyway, yes, back to rail. I'm trying to figure out where I need to put the first, at least, of my goods terminals. And my initial thought was it was going to go in the industrial park here. But this is where all my vanilla industry is. That's all vanilla there. And these are the corresponding industries from the kind of like from these industry DLC areas. So there's a furniture factory which is from the here that is kind of linked, if you like, to this forestry area, and there's the bakery which is linked to the farming here. So yeah, the idea of putting a rail terminal in there appeals, but it's where do I run this? Where do I run that rail? How do I get it across the river? How do I plug it into the rail network? I could, I suppose, go this way through what's going to be my campus area. That's what's putting me off there. I might, I'm not sure, I might just have enough space to kind of sneak it right the way along the boundary, but I don't think the game will let me. So I'm kind of thinking that it's going to go there. But anyway, look, I just wanted to quickly show you this CSL thing, really. I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to probably start my next video pondering where my rail connection is going to be, before just kind of starting to expand this residential a bit further, and just generally kind of grow the city a bit. So I hope you found that useful, interesting sort of thing, and that you'll stick with me for the next video. But until then, this is Steve signing off, so you all take care. See you soon. Bye now.